Many thanks for staying tuned. It's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. Well, thankfully, some of these safety breaches issues recorded in Nigerian airports, two airports, have been resolved or may have been resolved. But there's a need to, again, revisit some of these issues vis-a-vis ensuring that Nigerians, especially those who use our airport, are conversant with what it should be, and also the need for the airport staff, including the cabin crew and all others, to also ensure that at all times they are also at their best behavior. We do know that the aviation sector is one that has international standard, and Nigeria is not left out of following such protocols. And on the program today, we have a guest whom together we'll be taking a look at some of these aviation safety issues and some of those infringements, and how we all can be better behaved when we are at the airport and when we're also on board the aircraft. Wole Shadari is here on the program today. Wole, thank you for being here on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good
Let's
morning.
start this way. Generally, we do know that for some time, we haven't heard so much about our airports until these two incidents came on board. And then, of course, there was an expose and many questions are being asked here and there. But generally, let's look at Nigerian airport. How would you assess our safety precautionary measures?
Thank you. I think the events in the last 2 weeks really exposed the aviation soft underbelly, and really shows that we have a lot to do in terms of security, in terms of passengers facilitation, in terms of processes. Okay. It really exposed us to the fact that we seem not to be prepared for what the things that were to come. In the case of Comfort and in the case of Kwanwan, the way it was handled. And Nigeria is a signatory to the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, which is a body of the United Nations. So, and that is why it is said that there's no Nigerian aviation. Aviation is global. You use the same processes, you use the same rules to govern aviation all over the world, because we are signatory to ICAO convention. Right. So, and it also shows that somehow we breached the Annex 17 of the ICAO convention, which talks about safety, security, and how to handle issues that emanated last week. Right. It's not as if somebody has told us that we violated it, but these are the signs that shows that we probably were not moving towards. It was a big test for us, and I'm so excited that the Minister of Aviation said personnel in the aviation industry are going to be trained and retrained. It shows that there's a gap, or there was a gap in our security architecture at the airport.
Okay, so ideally, what should be the role of NCAA in all of these, in terms of training, certification of personnel, as well as aircraft?
Yeah, the NCAA has lived up to his reputation and billing. NCAA has no issue with these two incidents that occurred. What NCAA does is to regulate. Yes, NCAA has a role too, by ensuring that we keep to all those things, because the NCAA supervises FAN, supervises NAMA, supervises every organization within the airport. So, but when you talk about security, it has to do majorly with FAN, because FAN is the landlord of the airport. FAN ensure they have aviation security, which falls under Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria. So, but what the NCA can do is to ensure that these organizations are working together, not working at cross purposes. So that is where the NCA has a role to play, by ensuring that everybody does his own bit. NAMA does his part, and FAN does his part, and other organizations that come under the aviation industry. It is the regulator.
Okay.
So it ensures that it regulates the industry the way it should be, going by the body of laws that we have.
Right. So we're talking about safety issues here, but then you also at the beginning did say that there's really no Nigerian aviation.
Absolutely.
Aviation is global, meaning that everything that we do should be at par with what is obtainable globally. And so in all that happened, let's break it down in the situation of K1, where now my worry is here. Let's look at many Nigerians asked the question, or many people asked the question, how did he get on the tarmac?
Oh.
You know, if we're talking about security and if we're talking about a global situation, and many also did say that he could not have tried that even at Israel. Okay, Israel is even too far. Maybe a Stansted, a smaller airport, he could not have tried that. And so if we say aviation is global, what happened? How did he get to a point where he could stand in front of a plane?
Yeah, in my introduction, I said everything went wrong that day. The first line of action was supposed to be at the check-in area, the security area. They should have asked him, this thing is not allowed. Inside the aircraft. That they should have stopped it there. We failed that test. If that had happened, we wouldn't possibly
have seen what happened.
Exactly. Possibly that wouldn't have even happened because that issue would have been dealt with. So, but they allowed that. And that is also a violation. We all travel out of this country, even to many parts of the world. We know the quantity of liquid that you can take.
Carry,
exactly. So, and if it's more than 100 ml, you can do that. All over the world is a standard rule. And that is why I said that standard rule applies to Nigeria and everybody that is signatory to the ICAO convention. So we failed that test, number one. Then he got there. They told him, Oga, you cannot take this thing in. And he said, because of his health challenge, that he needed to take water. And I asked the question, don't they have water on board the aircraft? We do. So, number two, yeah, he violated that. Number three, he started arguing with the officials, which was not allowed. At that point, they would have called the security people to pick him. If you look at that image, that video very well, you see that people were pleading with him. He shouldn't have even gone to that level. He would have been taken away, bundled away from there by security, not the airline officials, bundled away and taken by the security people. We wouldn't have had what happened. Then again, the pilots also showed that they were unprofessional. If you are within the tarmac or very close to the airport, the pilots will ensure that nobody is within that area yes, before taking off. So it would have been a different thing if that aircraft wing had hit Kwan. We would have been saying something else now. So they were very unprofessional. You do not take off when you have obstacles around that place. So that is failure number three. The other one, standing in front of the aircraft, which could also be termed as terrorism. You're trying to hold on,
hostage
the aircraft, so they can press charges against you, and it's a very serious charge. If you had done that, even in Ghana here, I'm sure it would have been picked up. So we failed all those tests. Everything went wrong. It was all shades of wrong that same day. So then we fast forward, we go to comfort too. Although the matter has been, but it's good for us to talk about
those things.
Yes, comfort issue was also pathetic in the way that, in the sense that it was not, I believe it was not well handled. We also failed that test because the crew, the essence of being a crew member or cabin crew is to de-escalate tension. So if you have an unruly passenger on your flight and you speak to that passenger and you find out that passenger is you can disarm that passenger by talking sensibly to that passenger to say, sweetheart, what you're doing is against aviation law. You're endangering our lives. You're endangering your own life. Please, I beg you. You know, there are things
in a civilized way.
In a civilized way. Not just say, switch off your phone. If you don't switch it off. And the type of people we have now are Gen Zs. You need to explain to them why they need to switch off. They are quite different from us. When we're growing up, if you tell us don't do this, we will do.
We will not even ask you a question.
You won't even dare.
These children, when you tell them, you need to explain to them why you're saying it. They are more exposed, they are more intelligent than we are. So you need to talk to them. You need to talk to them calmly. I have a friend who told me that his 18-year-old son, anytime he's speaking with his girlfriend, nobody comes close to him. You say, Daddy, I need to finish. But you dare not say that to my father.
Could you even speak to your girlfriend?
Exactly.
I mean,
even at that age, I can't even think of that. But these children are quite impressionable. They are quite exposed. They see a lot of things that we didn't see when we were growing up. So you need to educate them. You need to talk to them. So, and the lady wanted to come out of the aircraft. You're blocking the way. You had no business blocking that. You just have called the security to come and pick her. Or you do that almost maybe when she's going to pick her luggage or maybe almost outside the... And the airline would have been, free of all this embarrassment that traded. So we all failed that security. They all failed. And that is why the minister saw it and said, no. A lot of things were wrong. They need to retrain. They need to hold a retreat so that people will really know what they're doing. Look at the annexes, look at their laws so that they can be in tandem. Because what has happened, if we had allowed that, the whole world was watching us about our security process, about our facilitation, about all the processes, then we will now go in for a ICAO audit. And you tell us Nigeria failed. And people will say, how did we fail? These are some of the things.
Exactly. And so a lot of people do not understand the implication of what has happened.
Because and that is why I was very excited with the way Minister resolve that matter politically.
Politically. Sorry, Jibola, a follow-up to what you just said will be, for some reason, I'm just trying to play the devil advocate here, for some reason, the Ibom Air incident, could it have also been an offshoot of what happened with the value jet incident? Perhaps they were also trying to set a precedent that, okay, we are not going to condone any act of unruliness on our aircraft. Is there a possibility?
Yes, I think they went overboard, especially when the airline could have taken his decision because they were aggrieved. They felt aggrieved that what the lady did was not acceptable. There's nothing wrong in trying to stop her from, you blacklisted her. But what was more irresponsible was for the airlines to gang up to say they were banning her. Where did they derive the powers from? So the case was in court, and you look at the two cases. He took one to apologize, begged Nigeria, and nothing happened. But the other one was not given the opportunity to even apologize, and immediately the system worked. It happened on a Sunday. They took her to court on Monday and remanded her in Kirikiri. And you look at it, one was given a slap on the wrist, and the other one, they wanted to make a scapegoat out of her. But it wasn't, they say he who comes to justice must come with clean hands. So, and the federal government saw that this thing was almost getting out of her. And the minister in his wisdom looked at it and said, okay, you all go home and say no more.
Let everybody just go.
Okay, Wale, looking at the way and manner with which we handled all the situation, that of Kwamwon and Comforts, and then you earlier highlighted that we failed certain tests, the security breach. What do you think would be the perception of the world about the safety in our aviation sector, as well as the quality of personnel that we have in that sector as well?
Yes, I think I came on this studio the last time to say we need to train, we need to retrain people. it's like a lot of people are not, young people are not picking interest in aviation, and that is why you have a lot of old people, when they leave the system, they still come back as contract staff.
Okay.
Yes, so we're not seeing a situation where they are eased out and young people replaced. You see, I've known some people for more than 20, 25 years, and they are still there. The young ones are not coming up to take this position, only very few. And that is why you see these gaps in the air traffic controllers. We are short-staffed now. Air traffic controllers are not supposed to spend more than 3 hours, controlling the airspace
at the towers,
at the towers, understand? But because we don't have experienced people and we are short-staffed, most of them are overworked. When they are supposed to do 5-6 hours, they are doing 8-10 hours. You need total concentration. Thank God that we are not having issues. Our airspace is not that congested compared to what you have in Europe, in United States, where even 2 hours, because you need to stay on the system, you need to watch, you need to put your gaze there so that you don't allow aircraft to collide.
Right.
And that was what we saw in the US when 2 aircraft collided early this year, because the air traffic controllers are overworked, they are poorly paid, and they lost concentration. Because what they are supposed to do is to separate aircraft coming. The pilot is blind. Let me use it literally.
Right.
So he takes off, he relies on communication. The tower tells him go right, go left. If the tower tells you right and tells another aircraft right, there's going to be collision. So they separate. Say you go right, you go left. But if he makes that mistake and say you go right and the other one go right, there's going to be a collision. Though aviation has advanced, aircraft they've all advanced, because you have what we call tickers. Because when we started having collision, aircraft colliding in the air or even on ground, so there was a new system on board the aircraft. If 2 aircraft are going to be they are going to collide, the tickers will tell you, will give you a kind
sign.
of signal.
Okay.
You're going close, turn right, or turn left. So that was the case we had with the ADC crash in 1996, where Trias was going to collide with another aircraft. So he didn't see it. So they came so close, and he started wanted to dodge and fell into the river in Nigeria. So we need training, constant training and recruitment of young people to take over from this aging workforce.
Because I'm sorry, Abimbola, we are sending signals to the other world, indicating that our airspace is not safe.
No, our airspace is safe. It ranks amongst the best in the world. It's challenged, just like every other airspace is challenged. Even the American airspace is most difficult airspace you can have because of the
volume of traffic.
They also need manpower. They don't have enough.
Especially with Trump and the Dodge issues.
So it's challenged. Our aviation is I can tell you that with all sincerity that our airspace is one of the safest in the world. But there are things we also need to do to make sure that we continue to sustain that safety.
Right.
So,
still staying with issues around training, manpower, capacity building. Because sometimes, again, some people feel that there's just this mindset that the local airlines are superior or are inferior to the international airlines. And so you're saying that what should be obtainable on the international airlines you can take for granted when it comes to local airlines, and then the quality of aircraft they also use is also an issue. How do we ensure that there is a bridge, or at least, if not being at par, there can be a semblance of equity when you're flying on the international aircraft and when you're flying the local aircraft? Because a lot of people will also say, issues around the number of years those aircrafts that they use, and then they are smaller planes and all of that. But safety is safety.
Yeah, absolutely.
Precautionary measures should be precautionary measures. So how do we ensure that even if it is a local flight, you're rest assured that you're enjoying all of the safety measures that you'll be enjoying if you were on an international flight.
Yes, you see, our aviation, our airlines are very safe. Like I tell people, when people call me, say, which airline do you think is safe? And I ask myself,
which local airline, right?
Which local airline? And I ask myself, no, we have a regulator that will not allow you to operate an aircraft that is unsafe. And the NCA is very proactive now that, you know, any little thing you do, you see yourself in the news, and nobody wants to be in the news for the wrong reason.
bad reasons,
exactly.
yes.
So they are safe. When you also talk about aircraft, age of aircraft, it has nothing to do with safety.
Okay.
The only thing is that you spend more money. It's just like you buy a 10-year-old aircraft, car, or 15-year-old aircraft, car. It will not be efficient as a brand new. So you constantly go to the mechanic, you spend more money. That's the only thing. So, and in this climb, it's very, very expensive to buy brand new aircraft. Brand new aircraft will cost you about $100 and something million. And when you convert it into how many of our airlines can even afford that? So they cut their quotes according to their size. So they do smaller operations. Some of them are doing international. So you can't also not compare them with international airlines that have been there for 80 years, 50 years, 100 years. So one, they also have access to finance. Here, getting banks to support you, or financial institution to support you, is very Herculean, because you're getting your interest rate at 30-35%. There's no way you can survive, unlike these people who get it for less than even 1%. So even most of the finance houses do not, those airlines don't even pay for those aircraft. They finance them. You see the likes of BA. Somebody, a finance house is coming to say, okay, we want to buy 50 aircraft, we serve as guarantor, and they supply them because they know over time they are going to recover.
Get their money back.
So, but for Nigerian airlines, they don't have that financial muscle, and things are so stuck against Nigerian airlines because you multiple taxation, fuel, insurance is very high, because if somebody is giving you an aircraft, he looks at your environment, say, oh, this is a high-risk environment. I'm going to give you at 40%. But if you take it to Spain, maybe it's just for 2% insurance. So many things to pay for. So they really don't have the money. So they just do their operation in a very small way. It's not even comparable. We can't, it's like comparing sleep and death.
And death.
So there's no basis for comparison, because they are well funded. The government stands by them, and they have focus. They know what they want to do. They have a plan. Look at Ethiopian Airlines, is the most successful airline in the continent.
Yes.
In fact, it can rival any other airline in the world. And they are doing well. They have a focus. They have a target. Most of our airline operators, I'm sorry to say, don't look at the bigger picture. They are just comfortable in their little space. So, and you cannot grow at that level and scale by not thinking outside the box. So you just begin to do what you want to do for yourself and for your family.
Okay, so if indeed we want to make the aviation sector better, can these local airlines, as mentioned earlier, also collaborate or form alliance, like we do have abroad, to make their services more efficient?
Yeah, we have advocated that for a very long time. But you know, one thing I've come to understand about this sector is that everybody wants to do it on their own, and you cannot succeed or survive. We have even said, okay, on a smaller scale, you can interline with yourselves. For instance, if both of you are going to Abuja, you're going to Abuja at 9 o'clock, the other one is going at 9:15, and is carrying 50 passengers for a 150-seater aircraft, and you're also carrying 50 or 60, you're wasting money. Why don't you come together, put the passenger in one aircraft and share the profit. The one that did the operation can take 70% because he has to fuel his car, he has to do some other things. You can take, you're not flying, you're making money. But all of them just want to show their money. At the end of the day, you're losing money. So the NCA has advised them, interline locally. But the biggest challenge is who is going to be the clearinghouse? Who is going to say, okay, this the amount I'm going to give you, this amount. You know, when it comes to money, there can be problems. So it becomes very difficult. But the regulator has told them, even stakeholders have said, you can come together. But what I see in all of this is that they want to cancel themselves out. And by the time you cancel yourselves out, you have nothing left. And so, and we have, I believe we have too many airlines in Nigeria.
Local airlines?
Yes, I believe we have too many. The industry is very robust for our own standard. But I think we can build capacity, we need critical mass. Most of the airlines you have, if you put all the aircraft together, is less than 60 for about. So it's not even up to the fleet of one international, it's not even half of the fleet of Ethiopian Airlines or Egypt or even Kenya Airways. So you cannot survive without critical mass. And for you to have that critical mass, you need a lot of finance. So that's where they have come short, and that is why they can get relatively older aircraft between 15 and 20 or 25 years, which is, they are safe, nothing wrong. But you will spend more money going to maintain, going for maintenance, and maintenance is not cheap.
Is it not better to buy new instead of going for maintenance? Can
they afford it?
$150 million for one aircraft.
Can they afford it?
Please do the
mathematics.
It's running to trillion now. When their whole asset is not even up to that.
I know, right.
So they have to make do with what they can afford. Okay. If you can't buy a brand new car, you go and buy
Tokumbo.
But not at the expense.
Not even Tokumbo. Not Tokumbo. You go and buy Nigerian used 10 years. Nigerian used.
That have not acquired too much mileage. Okay, well, I'd like for you to please clear the air on this, because this also happened, especially in Comfort's case, and a lot of people were wondering why that was an issue. Of course, it was the issue of switch off your phone, put your phone on flight mode, and a lot of people asked the question. So for those who actually manufactured the phone, there was a reason why they said you could put it on flight mode. And so if and then you keep hearing switch off your phone, and you hear, but it's already on flight mode, and then you still insist that I switch it off, and I'm wondering if my phone is on flight mode, it's not working anymore already. But some will also say that, but on international aircraft, you also have the liberty of paying for Wi-Fi, and you're able to use your Wi-Fi while the flight is on. So why is our own always different when it comes to the Nigerian issue? Or is it also a case of course, if you're flying on the international airspace, it is longer. Because here, probably 50 minutes, an hour, you're where you are. So please clear the air. Why is this an issue?
I think there are also reasons why the manufacturers who also have the flight mode button decided to put it is for one reason. And there's another reason why they also put the switch off button. I think in some airlines, they will tell you can put your your phone on flight mode or switch off. It depends. Some will tell you at a point, switch off your phone. Maybe for certain reasons. Maybe because, one, it interferes with communication. And when you put your your phone in flight mode, I don't know the technology, but some said it still emits some, you can
still some transmission or whatever.
Exactly, that can still. Maybe that's the reason they do. And the other one you said, you pay for your Wi-Fi. At times you don't even pay. Some are free. So they have a technology that can make you to browse. You can call. And the reason why, maybe on a local flight, why they don't allow people to call, it can be very chaotic too. If you allow Nigerians to use their phone, they will say things, the way they will talk, the whole cabin will be disrupted. And maybe one of the reasons, and because it interferes with signals. So, and I always tell people, this trip is just 1 hour.
You won't die if you don't use this phone.
In 1 hour. Even if it's for 6 hours, will you die? You won't die. So most times and okay, let me also give you a scenario. You see people, even before they say switch off, before the aircraft lands, they already put on, hey, ebere anuma po, motideo, come, you know, confusion in the cabin. We talk too much.
We're just a people.
And so even when you travel on international flight, when even the cabin crew asks you, switch off your phone, that is even when you see people making calls. Right. The calls you haven't made since before that time is the call you want to make now. So we are very impossible people, and I think we need a lot of awareness. The regulator also need to tell people, passengers what to do and what not to do. People are flying for the first time. They are not conversant with some of these things. So they find it strange when you say, turn off your phone. People are so used to their phones that even they can't leave their phones for 1 minute.
A second, right.
So you need to tell them why they need to do that. You need to educate them, constant awareness on what to do. But if you don't do that, we'll begin to see the case of comfort all the time. And people are really somehow depressed. Little thing you tell to them, you will trigger. So you need to manage situations like that, that your cabin crew, your job is to de-escalate tension. Right. There's a way you can speak to people that even if that person is not reasonable, by the time, oh, sweetheart, how are you? I'm doing this for you, for your own interest. The person will look at it reasonable. But when you tell the person, I want you to switch it off now. If you don't do that, the person will look at you and say,
did you pay for my airfare?
So the way we talk to people, the way we relate with people, help us to manage crisis. If we don't do that, we'll begin to see. But what happened in the case of Kwan 1 and Kwan 2?
Okay. Like we said,
they all happen, even outside the shores of this country. I've seen videos where someone really there's even a video that is trending, where 2 or 3 passengers turned the cabin of the aircraft into a boxing ring on Virgin Atlantic, and they happened. So what the pilot did, because he wasn't sure of the safety of the aircraft, so he landed in the nearest airport, called the security to come and take them. So there are things you can do decently without necessarily putting yourself. Maybe somebody even recorded that and sent, but it wasn't from the authority. They manage crisis. Things happen every day at the airport. People will miss their flight and they get enraged and they start destroying things. Right. Even outside the shores of this country, I'm not encouraging that, because you need to go in for it. If you become unruly, if you assault people and you destroy things, people's property, you need to pay for them.
Are there lessons here that as a country, as individuals, as flight owners, as government, both incidents might have opened our eyes to see in this situation? Because again, you give kudos to the Minister for Aviation by the way he handled the matter, even though a lot of people also did say that how can you reward bad behavior with an ambassadorial nomination? And he said, I mean, it happens everywhere. When people are badly behaved, you actually make them talk about that thing in a better light. So what are some of the lessons that we can learn here?
I think I've been an advocate, which I will ask the Honorable Minister to pay for, because I've told people when K1 was made an ambassador, people say, oh, you reward bad behavior with. I said, no. We don't really understand it. You know, it's very easy to carry propaganda and mischief beyond what it is. The ambassadorial thing is not, it has no political
undertone.
No, not political. It has no political power. What it means is that you are the face of bad behavior. Go to people and tell them, anywhere you see this, tell them that it's not good to take part. It's just like promotional. You're helping the agency, you're helping the community to make sure that that type of thing does not happen again. It's not as if, it was made an ambassador, they rewarded. No, it's even like a community service. Indirectly, he has been
That's the way
punished.
to serve is punishment.
Yes, but in this part of the world, you'll be shocked tomorrow that he may even go and sing about it and say,
We know this person.
ambassador, understand, because he may not even understand
The role.
He will just think it's a promotion. It's not. They've told you that you are the face of bad behavior at our airport. Go and tell people, anywhere you see this type of behavior, speak to them, talk to them, so that
they don't also to the
exactly.
All right, Jibala, do you have any question for Wale? Okay. Thank you so much, Wale Shadari, for finding time to be with us on the program this morning. We appreciate your thoughts.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, we've been speaking with Wale Shadari on the program today. And of course, one or two lessons that we must learn is wherever we are, please, 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 let us be mindful of others and also be good ambassadors of best behaviors. Honestly, there's no bad behavior. Bad behavior is bad behavior. So let's all ensure that we're at our best wherever we are. We'll take a quick break. When the conversation returns, Joy will be here with her Lagos conversation.